All right, let me check if we are live. Give me a second, guys. Can you? Oh, yes, we are live on X. Cool. Let me go live on
Awesome.
Abstract as well. All right, cool. Let me post this on Discord. Correct. Don't forget to like and retweet this. All right. All right, we have around 20 people at the moment. But yeah, we can start this. So GM everyone. You know the drill. This is another yapping session. Sadly today, Bam Bam won't be joining us today. She's been dealing with some stuff. But I mean, hopefully, if you're watching this or if you're gonna watch this, Bam Bam, we wish you the best in your recovery. And today we're gonna have Molly with us today. She's the leader of our social media department. She's goaded ass. So make sure to ask any questions that you have related to her. It's the perfect opportunity to know kind of like the brain behind a lot of the stuff that we've been putting out there on our social media channels. And she's also really, really skilled in Blender. You're gonna see today. Even if she's like kind of like honestly, I wouldn't be able to do the stuff that she's doing. So let's see how this is gonna play out. So thank you for tuning in today. And so yeah, Sophie Godwin, how are you today?
Good. I'm all good. And yes, so here I'm gonna be helping Sophie here navigate through Blender, I guess, right? I think she
Yeah,
already
kind
has
of.
some basics there. So we'll see how
Mm.
this goes.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. So I always wondered how this is gonna work out with other because usually last time I did this stuff was with who was it with? I think it was Jan. Yes, I think it was
Oh,
John,
okay.
and I would help him navigate through Blender. In this, he never touched it, so he's kind of like, okay, point
did he
left.
have any did he have any prior experience before you kind of like taught him how to do that, or
No,
not at all? Okay,
no,
so I guess it will be easier this time because Sophie, I know
yeah,
she's been doing this for quite some time, so it would be, yeah, like I said, a bit easier for you to do that. Besides, um you're a teacher as well, so it shouldn't be that hard for you, right? Like I feel like even I could
kinda,
take lessons from you, right?
kinda. I mean, but I teach English, so this is a little,
Mm,
yeah. But we'll try, yeah. All right.
yeah, we'll
Yep.
give it a go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So
Sophie, let us
go
know
ahead.
like how are you today, like what do you have planned for us?
So the plan was kind of to make Blender a bit less scary for our community as well, so that they can help make some community generated
Nice.
content for us as well. Now that we have the meme depot and all that stuff, because
Mm-hmm.
we've kind of been getting the feedback that they would love to contribute, but they're a bit scared of Blender. And yeah, so I thought I would kind of try from a complete beginner, I guess, to other
Mm.
complete beginners. Maybe give a little bit of an overview and have Gwen react or help or whatever. Yep.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
this is good though because honestly, like this is also something like from a community perspective and from my perspective as well. It's like, oh, dude, I would actually love to start creating a bunch of different stuff. Like, yeah, we can all go and do stuff with Canva or whatever, but actually putting your plushie to do some stuff, it's a little bit daunting, and I feel like that is definitely a blocker and a barrier for our community to start creating their own content. So this is good. This is like the beginner's lesson on how to use Blender. So do you want to maybe explain how does this work? Where do you need to download Blender? Like, where do you download the Plooshy assets? If people want to have a particular asset, like maybe you can ask us and we can give it to you in case you don't find it anywhere else. But yeah, Sophie, do you want to talk about that first?
Yeah, sure. Well, the file that you see here, that's mostly, or that's exclusively the naked plushies. There are no traits. So
Mm-hmm.
if you actually want a plushie with your traits, or if you want this file or whatever, you might have to ask one of us to send it to you. If you are okay with not as high quality, then you can go to the playground and actually download the model of your plushie on like from the playground in like I think it's the game quality, so it's not, I guess in terms of resolution, it's not as high resolution if you want to put it that way. From Blender to other normal people terms, I guess. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and that one will then have all the all the traits of your plushie, obviously. Um, and if you then have, if you downloaded it, it'll be, I think it's a GLB file. Um, yeah, you have to then import it into Blender, which you do here,
Mm-hmm.
import, and then obviously you look for the file and import it. And that was something I needed to figure out first because you can't drag and drop it in like with Photoshop or whatever. So that will be the first, the first, yeah, I guess, step to starting that. If you just get this file, then you can just click it and it opens like a normal file would. Yeah, that those are the ways to get files. And there are also a bunch of like websites and stuff that have assets. Like if you want it to play football or something, you can download a football
Mm.
from somewhere for free. That exists. I don't really know the names of them. I think there's like Sketchfab or Blend Swap. Those are things that I asked Cole for like
Okay.
a year ago, and he
Mm.
sent me those websites to yeah, help out so that I don't have to make it from scratch, obviously,
Yep.
because I can't really do that. At least not that well. It takes me a long time to do it.
I mean,
So yeah,
after all, this is a beginner sort of guide. So having
yeah,
those websites so you can download stuff for free,
yeah.
it's actually really, really clever. I don't know if you going to have any other sort of suggestions for websites where people can download assets for free that they can start playing around with.
Well, there's plenty. There's plenty.
Mm.
The thing is, most are paid content.
Okay.
So if you want, especially if you just want to mess around with things, right? You have a couple of choices. Sketchfab is my go-to mainly because of just how a lot of the assets there are quite clean, right? But there is a limitation in this case where they have a limit to how many you can download, I believe.
Mm.
One would be useful, I think, would to use is to use Blender Kit. Uh, it's an add-on that you can download. Just type Blender
Okay.
Kit on for Blender, and you will be able to download like an add-on. Which, if you follow the instruction on how to install, is pretty easy. You don't need to open the zip file. You just find the
Mm.
zip file and press turn it on.
Yep.
That will give you a menu right inside Blender where you gain access to all these free models. And of course, paid models are usually locked, but there's so many community-made assets to choose from there, and it's very
Mm.
easy to. You like what you see, you just click it and pop. It just shows up right away on your in your viewport. So I think that's the most convenient one, I would say.
Okay.
There's-
Well, I
Cool.
guess we'll find out like once I do think I have Blender here, but I haven't really used it, so I'll give it a go after this beginner's lesson and
Mm-hmm.
kind of like fuck around and find out. Hey.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think Blender is honestly like really scary when you first look into it. Like that was the first
Mm,
time I downloaded Blender. I was like, it's not going to be that hard. I know how to use like Photoshop and editing softwares of like like video stuff. So it's not going to
mm,
be that difficult. But then you see it and you're like, nope, and you close it again. So
mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but then
actually not that difficult once you wrap your head around it. I think like once you kind of figure out what you have to press, it at least in terms of when you have a rigged model like these, it's quite simple to do. It's kind of like I don't know, playing with a doll, but like it's in the computer. Quinn was going to say something.
nothing. Yeah, that's exactly that's a good way to show you. It's kind of like if you talk about animation in 3D, it's kind of like if you imagine yourself making stop motion video using toys.
Mm.
In this case, the figure you moving around is in a computer screen, and you just kind of have to move it one by one. um, so yeah, that's one way to put it. Anyway, Marley, so what are you planning
Um,
to make here?
that's a good question. I didn't really plan anything to make this a bit chaotic, I guess. Keep it interesting for everyone. One thing I did was change, if you get this file, obviously, then you will have this nice little studio backdrop included. um, you don't have to make that. There are tutorials on how to make that on the internet. It's not that difficult. Even I can do that. I just changed the color, which you can do down here. There's like, I don't know what you call these things, but you find this one and you just choose the color you want. I'm just going to go for like a off-white color just because I feel like you can see the characters best for the purpose of this tutorial. Um, I don't know. It's more of like a exploration, I guess. Um, then if you actually, this is like the most important part. If you want to move the character at all, you need to click on the rig, which like the rig are these things, like kind of like the skeleton or the bones. There are several types of rigs, but this is really the only one I've ever used. And I think I'm not sure the model that you download from the playground might have other bones, like more like bones as you would imagine, like sticks in the different joints. I'm not sure, but it works pretty much similarly to this, so don't worry about it too much. And then if you want to move it now, you will have to click on this up here from the object mode to the pose mode, and then you see a fancy little color change, and then you can actually move the character, which is quite important to figure out because otherwise you're going to struggle um, if you don't change it up there. And then it's like actually, like we said, pretty much. Oh, actually, let me show you how it's much easier to navigate this, in my opinion. Is if you right click, like right here between these two windows, or I don't know, the menu, whatever. Um, and then you can choose vertical or horizontal split. I prefer the vertical split. Oops. And then you can see it here. You can go on view and camera and then active camera. And then you see what the camera sees. And then you can actually turn off all of these confusing things with these two. And then you can just see what the camera sees basically. And I quite like to have that to see what I'm doing, because with all these lines and stuff, it's sometimes a bit difficult to see.
One
Um,
suggestion, uh,
yeah.
um, Sophie. If you see the buttons at the top bar for the left viewport on the left side, there is like an arrow, blue arrow pointing up
Yeah.
on the top bar.
Ah.
Yeah, see the one of the icons is the blue arrow. All right, click the drop down for it. Yes, and here you can control what you want to see here.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't want to see certain things, right? You can turn it off, and then if you look on the other icon right next to it,
Mm-hmm.
you can do the same. Now turn off extras.
Yep. Oh, that's
Boom.
so much nicer.
You don't know extra, but just
I wish I
right.
would have known.
There you go. Yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah. Right. And then I was going to say something. Oh, yeah. I was going to explain this part. That's kind of, I suppose you could kind of compare it, but not really, to like layers in Photoshop. But you just have all your different assets here, like the lights and cameras and all the like rigs and characters and stuff are here. You can see that there, and then you can, click on it and edit it or whatever. That's quite important. I don't honestly know what all of these do. The only ones I use are this one up here, the camera, and then you have the render engine, which I think Cycles is the best. I don't know. That's the one that Cole told me to use, so I'm doing that. And if your laptop or computer is struggling, you can, with like the viewport quality, you can like change this. For me, it's already pretty low. I don't really know what the norm is there. This is just a preset, I think. And same for rendering. If your laptop or a computer struggles with rendering, you can lower the samples here. And I guess it makes it less good quality. I don't really know. Cole
Actually,
told me to do that, so I do
yeah,
it.
the one you need to change is actually the one with noise threshold.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it changed. So don't need to touch the max samples and min samples. Those, let's just say that it's already set to be as efficient as possible. And the real difference will be made if you change the noise threshold. The higher you put it, the lower quality image you get, but it's faster, you know.
Okay. Okay. What I do know is that with my old laptop, I needed to change this number with the render max samples. Otherwise, it would have taken like an hour to render one image. So I don't know. I usually put it on 20 with my old laptop. Now I can use this, but yeah. Right. And then I think that's the most important bit. And then in this part here, you can change the resolution. And I don't know. Let's say you want it. I don't know, a different resolution or a different format. You can change that here. I think you can also do stuff with the camera somewhere. Like here, for example, if you want to render with a transparent background, you first of all obviously need to turn off the background, which you can do here. And you just click that. You can either turn it off just in the viewport, then it will still render with the thing. You just won't see it here. And if you turn it off completely, it's gone. And then you have to click this to transparent if you then also want to render it in with a transparent, like as a PNG with a transparent background. Otherwise, it will be like just a gray backdrop, I guess. That's also something that I needed. It took me a while to figure that out. Yeah. Let's turn the background back on now. Right, then let's actually get to the posing of the character. Like I said, these are kind of the joints and the bones you can move. We have a new rig now that has a bit more choices, but I guess for beginners, this is already enough to worry about. Like I'm still struggling with the new rig, I guess. So then you have your like what are those called? Controls, I guess, here. By the way, I'm doing this on my laptop with my trackpad. Like actual people who do this professionally, I suppose, have other methods. I just use my trackpad on my laptop.
That's a nightmare. The trackpad in space.
Oof.
Okay, I'm out. I'm like,
That's one way to make your teacher go mad. Like if you tell him that.
Yeah, it's also like with any other editing software, whether it's Photoshop or like the video, I don't know, even if it's just CapCut or like usually I use DaVinci Resolve, I would never ever use like the mouse to do things. I always use shortcuts. With Blender, I'm staying with the mouse and it's all just clicking. Right.
What
So
would you
if you
say, Godwin, she needs to kind of like up her level, like to make her life a bit easier? Because she was
I'm
mentioning
sure.
like some other tools and stuff. Like, Like if people were wondering, okay, so what are these tools? What should I be using instead of a trackpad if I want to kind of like up my game?
Uh, all you need is a mouse and keyboard. Okay, and forget
Okay.
about trackpad. I mean, forget the trackpad. Just use mouse and keyboard.
Fair enough.
Okay, so yeah, you get the different controls. This one, the halo on top of the head, is basically you move the head, and then yeah, you have this control which allows you to use or like move it in the same spot, but like tilt it, I guess, in different directions. Um, I'm my question, Gwen, do the colors always say this? Are they always like, is green always this plane and blue always this plane?
That's right. Green is
Okay.
always y-axis. Blue is z. So they're just color coding which side it is.
Okay. Yeah. That's maybe something for people who struggle with like oh, what's the word for that? Like with orientation in like a room. Like I never really know what the X and the Y. I just again click stuff and hope it works and hope it looks good. So yeah.
So yeah, it's just the basic for what's a 3D space. It's often described. If you look at a graph, we have you know the one line going up, line going to the right. That's x and y, right? Z is the third dimension, adding another space into
Mm-hmm.
it. That's all you need to see it as. It's
Okay.
just it's not complicated. It's just telling you which way is which side. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know again. Um, right. You can kind of again tilt it in different ways, different directions. What's a little bit confusing, what took me a while to also, I'm still not very good at it, but like you only, as far as I know, you only ever move the joint that you click. So like you can see right here, for example, this doesn't move. So sometimes that leads to very weird contortions that you then have to figure out how to get rid of. Like right now you can see her like arm is twisting weirdly, and then you have to fix that. Like if that was the pose I was going for, I would then have to like go and try and fix that. I never know in which directions to like why it does it, so I always have to like figure out how to get it to not look like that. For example, right now that was pretty easy. Sometimes I have to turn in all kinds of directions for a long time to figure out how it's going.
I
um
see. Yeah, it's imagine that there's two types of controls, right? IK and FK. IK controls is basically the hand is independent of the body's movement. So if you move the body, the hand stays in the same spot. It's great when you want them to do like put their hands on a table while they jump around, while the
yeah.
hand stays on the table. What you're looking for is the other type of control. And the way to do that is to go to the tools section, the tool tab on the sidebar of the viewport. You have
Somewhere
item
here.
transforms. Oh no, the stay on the if you stay on the viewport where you're controlling that,
Yeah.
the very edge of it between
Ah,
yeah
yeah.
tools. Um, oh, oh, right. You don't have. Oh, it doesn't transfer to you. Yes, there should be a control where you can just turn it off, switch
Hmm.
it into an IK or an FK. Right. In
Okay.
this case,
I don't
I
have
don't know
that
why
choice.
it did that. I don't know why it did appear. Okay, let's go to the other one. Let's go to the main sidebar where you have all this.
This one?
Yeah, yes. Look for the I the green skeleton.
This
Yes,
one?
yes. Now, well, I can't. Unfortunately, on my side, I can't see where you're navigating because I can't see where it's all are right now because like our images are covering the menu. Um,
Oh, I can wait. Let me.
Yet, yeah.
Is it better?
yes. Um, Okay, so I don't think it's there, but
Okay.
it should be. So it's in my case I put a custom menu, but it's somewhere in one of those menus. Right? Even I don't know where things are oftentimes. There's just so many.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I don't know where it is.
That's
But for
okay.
now, you know,
I'll Yeah,
let's
so far it's always worked out in some way.
you gotta
um,
let's just deal with it for now. Yeah.
yeah. Right. So we've done that. Um, with the plushies with tails, I would very much advise you like not to mess with the tails too much because that can get confusing. If you, for example, use like this bone that I just did, it just kind of moves it right there. But then there's also this one, and that kind of twists it, like or not twists it, like it. I don't know if that makes sense. It like changes the shape from like more straight to more curved. Whereas if you use like, for example, this one, it stays in the same shape and just goes like this. Yeah. Generally speaking, I would say don't touch the rest of them unless you want to figure out how to like it takes for me it takes a while to then figure out how to pose the tail, so I usually try to hide the tail actually. I try not to mess with it too much. um, that would be my advice.
If
Right.
you want, if say you've messed with it and you want to, you know, it's already all twisted up and you want to know how to get back to its original position, just pick the bone that you feel like it's so messed up. Let's say you pick that one, right? Now go
Mhm.
back to the one of those, yes, item in this case, transforms. Now
Yeah.
here we go back to those, right? Just set rotations to 0.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
There. Now, if you select all the bones at once
Mm-hmm.
and then you press out while you turn, you type in 0, you will set 0 all the other bones altogether.
Okay, so if I were to, oh, that's very like that.
Hold out while doing that.
Ouch.
Yep.
How do
You
I
can
do
set
that?
them all to default pose if you do this.
Okay.
So you hold out and then you do the same the way you kind of set all the values to 0 while holding out.
Oh. Oh. Oh, I've spent ages just doing that for every single bone, just like clicking every single thing and then going 0 and 0. That's
Now,
gonna save some time.
yeah, now you can do the same for the location too.
Okay.
So yeah, that
Yeah,
helps.
that's up here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. That's very helpful. Yeah, we've talked about this control where you can tilt it. Let's go back to 0. And then you have this control, which actually moves stuff, which is more useful for the legs and the arms, I feel like. You don't really need it for, I mean, you could also move the head and do weird things, which is also kind of fun sometimes, like this. Um,
Oh my goodness, I don't want to see that again.
That's
That's funny.
very useful actually. Yeah. Animators, yeah, the professional ones, routinely break the rigs during
Mm.
certain situations and certain camera angles. Like you want the character's face to be right into the camera while the body is far away. I do the same. I'll just stretch the head forward. You can't see it from the front that is being stretched. That's a cool thing.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's an,
I've
it's an
seen that
aspect in
with,
our
yeah.
yeah.
I think Cole did it with one of the images of the sensei on Instagram. And when you see like the actual picture, you don't see it, but then you go around in the scene and it's quite frightening.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So for example, the hands, you can click them and you can move them up and down or bend them, right? Like bend them like this. Um, Here's something that I don't really know. I'm not like, I do kind of know what this bone does, but I never really know how it affects when I, for example, like you can't move this bone with this control. You have to use this one and you can only turn it in one direction. So right here it does the elbow, but then what is this one, Glenn?
Oh, that's for the elbow actually. That one's for the elbow. So the
Okay.
square you selected is for the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you twist it, move it around,
Okay.
like that, right?
Okay.
Now it might seem like so it's just that it's the shoulders, and it will be more apparent when you use the FK format of control,
Okay.
where the whole arm is static and it follows the body. In that case, you know, you don't have that round control, that ball controller that controls where the elbow moves. You have to manually kind of just use the rotate tool to kind of rotate the arm, and then you have to rotate the shoulder forward to make to turn it like that.
Okay. And then this, yeah, that's the elbow then. Okay. Oh, I get it. I think it's kind of, yeah, it does a similar thing, but I think I get it now. Then I have another question. I think I know the answer, but for everyone else's information, like for example, this bone
Mhm.
or joint or whatever, um, and then there's a circle inside, and does that? I think that moves the texture, right? Like it. No, it doesn't. Like this.
So it's I don't know how to call it, but you can call it the twerk controller.
Okay.
Now
That.
imagine how twerk movements works, right? Everything
Mm,
stays in place, but the buttocks area does all the shaking. So
okay.
the square controller makes it so that when you move it and turn it around, the whole body follows through.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
But if
okay.
you move the round one, right?
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, is you just just move that area specifically.
That's okay. We're now officially calling that the twerk control. I like that.
Yeah.
And one thing that I found very difficult to figure out that took me a while, and I don't know if this is the right way to do it or not, but I always go into pose mode like I am right now to actually move the character. This is only really useful if you or needed if you have several characters and you want to put them in different places. But I then move them only ever in pose mode because let's see what happens if I do it in in object mode. Is if I try to then move it, it does really weird things. And this took me forever to find out. It seems really simple if I talk about it, but yeah, it used to be really weird. I think if you do it with the object mode, the way I figured that out, I think you would then have to um, select all the bones and the texture around it, I think, and then you can move it.
Okay, I
But
don't
yeah,
know what happened there. It shouldn't do that.
it all it always does.
I think somehow the model is
Yeah.
supposed so the model is supposed to be linked to the rig. So whenever you move the rig, the whole rig,
Mm,
just the collection, the model should follow through. In this
okay.
case, it's disconnected somewhere. I don't know what happened when it got broken at some point. Whenever jumping between people using it, I
Yeah.
guess. But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that was definitely a headache for me for a while. So I just always go into pose mode and do it there because it works. So yeah.
yeah. I think it shouldn't be a problem. But one thing we can do to fix it, we can try here. If you leave pose mode,
Yeah.
now select the model first, okay, and then shift select the rig.
Yeah.
Now press Control P,
Control P. Mm-hmm.
and I don't think this should be this should be a normal link. So just use object. Just choose object. Okay, now try to move the whole thing.
With everything selected?
No, just the rig.
Okay. Oh, that's fun. It works.
Okay, let's test
Oh,
out the pose mode. If make sure it's not broken at this point. But it should be different type of link. Okay, yeah, it's a different link. So these are
okay.
bone. So there you go. I fixed it. You fixed
That's
it.
Great. A year, 1.5 years later, finally, I can move the Plooshies around. Yeah. I think, right, we've done these two controls. Then there's this, which is scale, which that's one of the only like keyboard controls I use for scale, and not click the actual icon in the viewport or in the menu. Is I click S for scale, and then you can scale it. Like you get this, and you can scale. But like right now, you have to go into. I think you have to go into object mode to scale things. Maybe, I don't know. Can you make the Plooshie grow?
Yeah,
You should.
if you
Oh
resize
yeah.
the don't
Yeah.
don't need to select the model, just need to select the reg, and that's enough. If you
Okay.
want to resize the whole character.
Okay, that's cool. So that's one
So
of the
what?
very only keyboard.
So with that, we're gonna
like,
be creating
shortcuts.
little plushies, like another
Yeah, tiny
collection.
ones. That would be cute.
The issue with doing that rescaling, the hair gets messed up, and
Why is
unfortunately,
that though? Because of
because
how it
I
is.
think the I don't know how to explain it here in a simpler way, but the way the hair system particles work, it is not the same as how the 3D objects work. So when you
I
scale
see.
it, this hair particles, the way it grows on the model, uses its
Hmm.
own scaling system. So when you scale the
Oh, okay.
model, the hair doesn't scale with it and becomes very tiny, and the spaces between them gets larger.
Mm,
Blender's hair system has always been a bit of a mess. So
okay. So it wouldn't be that simple to just like scale them down a bit and then just move move with it. You would need to scale the hair system as well, right?
yeah, I mean,
Mm,
sometimes I don't bother with it because just messing with the hair like, by itself is also very time consuming and annoying.
mm,
So if I need in certain situations, I need to scale the character to larger sizes for
mm.
specific scene, usually involving physics.
Yeah,
Then
right.
you know, eh, you know, it's not that visible anyway. The hair, not enough time. That's fine.
I mean, but the way that you did it though, because it's so realistic, right? Like when people zoom in their NFTs, they can see how detailed the hair is. I don't know how long it took you to do that, to get to that sort of level of quote unquote perfection. Because it sounds a bit
um,
right, like the way that you're framing it, it sounds a bit messy, complicated.
it's the it shouldn't be. It's more like
Mm,
it shouldn't be that complicated. It's just that blend. I think that's just a weak point in Blender itself.
I see.
Um, I think it would be easier for, say, if I want to make a character like a blonde girl on the beach with nice flowing hair, it would
Mm,
actually sometimes be easier
mm,
because they have a system where I can kind of like just calm the hair and stuff. But because these are trying to make it look like fabric, right? And they're random and then they're all over the place. And that's for some reason it's just more time consuming to just set it right,
mm.
including making sure how it reacts to certain lighting. Sometimes it's very specific situations. I decide to change it. You know, I need to change this shader in a specific way because under certain lighting, it doesn't look realistic.
Yeah, right.
There's that.
Okay. And then there's this control, which is just everything all at once. I don't ever use it because I use the trackpad, so it's just nicer to have these like separate ones because yeah, otherwise I keep selecting the wrong thing and then it's just weird. But if you have a mouse or I don't know, a keyboard, uh, this might be a more efficient way to go about it. Right. And then what? Yeah, let's go back in there. And actually, how does one change the facial expressions? Because that is quite important,
Mm.
maybe more important than posing sometimes, especially for beginners, right? Obviously, for more experienced people, the pose is really important to, show emotions and stuff. But for the beginners, our main weapon, I guess, is the face. And actually, if you get this file, you actually get, like, you have to go to this like triangle thing, and then you have these shape keys, and you basically just have to type in a value between 0 and 1. And then you can, like, for example, if I type 0, she stops smiling, or I type 1 and then she closes her mouth. And I can also make her sad. Right, and then you obviously have to change the eyes and the eyebrows accordingly, and that's all done in these shape keys in this particular file. I don't think that if you download the one from
The playground.
the playground that it has the shape keys. I'm not sure. It might.
Nah.
No.
Those,
Okay.
yeah, they don't have shape keys because unfortunately, shape keys cannot be transferred into the format when exported.
Okay.
So
Well,
those models won't have the choice. Yeah, you won't have it.
okay. They also won't have the rig for the face.
They won't. The facial rig is only something I create later on.
Yeah.
And so yeah, the one in the playground is the base one that we use, right? Original
Yeah.
one. And the way when they're exported into other format, into a game engine and everything else, right?
Hmm.
It really, like the one we use, it doesn't translate, so we can't export it with keyframes. I mean, not keyframes, but it's shape keys. So unfortunately, we have to turn it off and set them as the default expressions.
Okay.
So yeah, the one way to think about it, there's something you can make yourself actually. The model is there and it's possible. Might need to learn sculpting a bit and manipulating the vertices though, if you want to make your own shape.
That's for the next stream, I think. I only just started trying with like very simple shapes, not with like plooshy kind of shapes, but literally like, I don't know, a cube or like a sphere, and then I try and sculpt something out of it. But yeah, that's my current level there.
So I guess, like, in summary, what would you say people would be able to do with like these sort of like beginner skills when they start, messing
Oh,
around, playing around with the rig?
everything we just showed, like go into pose mode and pose the
Mm.
character, right? Like however you like it.
Yep.
You can also, if you have this file, obviously, then you can, right, this is magic. You can get different animals. It doesn't always transfer the pose exactly, which I think has to do with the rig, but it's quite, it's usually quite an easy fix. You have the different ones. Right. You can also move the camera, like everything I just shown, but you can also move the camera, which might be interesting. That's something I think makes a huge difference in, like, obviously, like storytelling wise, where the camera is and how it's set up. You can show, I don't know, emotions. You can tell I'm missing all the words. Like I said before, it's too hot today and then my brain doesn't work.
Your brain is getting fried with that heat in Europe.
Yes.
How hot is it right now?
Oh, for people from other countries, it's probably ridiculous. Like in Germany, I think it's maybe like 30, 33, something like that.
Let me check
Celsius.
there. I actually
That's
want to
pretty.
see.
That's pretty hot for us here too in Indonesia. That is very uncomfortable. But I can imagine it's even more uncomfortable in Europe, just because
Yes.
the air is, it's a different kind of air.
Yeah. And in Germany in particular, like air conditioning is something that's not very common here. So,
Oh, is that
yeah.
right?
Really, the only places that have air conditioning reliably are supermarkets.
Yeah, that's why people go there and spend their
Yeah.
time in supermarkets.
Yes. I actually took my grandma to the supermarket today as like a nice little adventure of the day.
Yeah.
To getting back to the tutorial, if you want to move the camera, right, in this particular file, there are two different cameras. There's a selfie camera And to switch from this camera, like the regular camera, to the selfie camera, you click on this. Like there's the orange one and there's the green icon. And you go to that, and then it's like a selfie. Obviously, that doesn't look very nice right now,
Oh,
but
you can do that?
yeah,
I don't know. You can do that. I don't know that. Press the green icons on the camera. I never knew. So after so many years, I have no idea.
there you go. I'm
Wow,
teaching
look
you
at
stuff.
that. Yeah. Look at that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
But
You
let's go
can
back to
learn
the
this.
back.
Yeah, you can learn this for many years, and you still discover
Yeah.
new things.
The
Yeah.
student becomes the master.
This,
Mm,
yeah, there
basically.
you
Not
go.
too, not too shabby, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, with moving the cameras as well as pretty much any other assets, it's just the same controls as moving the poses, right? You can move it on the different axes, up and down, back, forth, left, right, and you can tilt it, right, in any direction. Let's go back though. I liked where it was before.
That's a crazy focal length on the cameras.
Yeah, that was the preset. Like that's
Yeah.
just how the file came. Yeah, if you want to change that, you can change stuff in here. I have started being brave enough to mess with it, but I'm definitely not doing that very much because oops, what did I do? Yeah, it's just so far this setup has been enough for me to kind of do simple stuff. Yeah, you can do the same with, let me see, the lights. Where are they? Right here. And then you have this automatically pops up and you can change to different kinds of lights. I would say that this is sort of like in a photo studio, maybe like a softbox kind of thing. Then obviously this is a spotlight, and this is like a point light, which is more like a highlight, I guess, if you were to say it in like photo studio terms. I'm not that like we did go through studio setups in college and university, but I don't really remember that very well. Yeah, Gwen.
Yeah, I think it's more just how it works. So it's more like imagine a light bulb just sitting there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if you like, highlights and everything else, you can use any kind of lighting. It's more about the position of the light. But these are just like the type of light, right?
Yeah.
So spotlight, of course, it's a certain spot, and you can see a cone type of lighting. Point is just a light bulb, no covering. And like
Yeah.
you said, area is a softbox.
Yeah. And then
But
sun does crazy things. Not with this one. That's unfortunate. But sometimes if you like with these ones, it doesn't change all that much sometimes. And then you use sun and it's all of a sudden like 1,000% bright. But unfortunately not right now. But yeah. You can definitely mess with it. You can also change the color of the light if you want. It's not very visible with these ones. Let me see if I can find one where it's more visible.
by the way, guys, I have to jump on a meeting, but I'll leave you guys in the stream for a bit. Just let me know when you're done.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. See you in a bit, guys.
Okay.
Um, if you want, let's check the viewport shading options at the top. If you want to change it from cycles to flat
Here.
shaded, the blue icon that's turned on right now in your viewport, right side.
This.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay. Right. If you so the difference is that the one you're on right now is cycles, and that uses realistic physical simulation where light bounces off things. That's very heavy. That's where the rendering is done. The other one, oh, it's covered right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Now the other one right next to it, yeah, that one. This is more. It's like it's a game engine lighting where it does all the calculation. This is great for a preview. Now click the drop down arrow for it. Yes. Click scene lights and scene world. There you go. Now it's actually showing the lighting that you set up in this, right?
It's
When
very dark.
so if you turn it off, Basically, it means that you telling the viewport to not show lighting that you set up yourself,
Mm-hmm.
to use world lighting that's a default you can set up. So if you go again to the drop down, now turn off scene lights and scene world. Now you have a choice there, if you the big ball, to what kind of default world lighting you want to use, right? And then you
Mm-hmm.
can rotate it, change the strength. So basically, that's why when you change the lighting, right, nothing changed on the viewport because it's set to not show your lighting setup. It's set to a default lighting setup.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. Yeah. I don't, yeah, with the lights, sometimes that's true. I struggle with the lights a lot because I don't ever really, I don't know. I think, first of all, the lights are difficult in general. Like, but then maybe it's also this, what you just told me, like the setup of it, that maybe I'm struggling with it too because I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, this is great for preview. This
Yeah.
this type of shading, but right. So just to explain it, like why is nothing happening? Well, there you
Yeah.
go. You know.
Okay. That's good to know. I think for me, for this very unstructured explanation, the last thing that's important, I think that's probably the most important. Also, something that took me a while to figure out was how to then actually render stuff, which, I mean, obviously you go to render and then you go to render image,
Hmm.
but you'll see, oh no, you don't see. Yeah, you do see, kind of. Yeah, this, I mean, it's not very clear right now. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. What did I do?
Change the top. You can see what it's rendering by choosing the rendering tab. So this layout, modeling, sculpting, UV editing is
Ah,
kind of
yeah,
parallel options.
yeah.
There you go.
Um,
Uh,
Render image. Oh,
oh,
it pops up in a different one, in a
it
different
should,
window for me.
yeah, it should appear here. I don't know. Hmm.
Can you see it all? What's rendering for me in the different image in the different window?
No, I can't see it. I think it will show up once it's finished, though.
Nothing is there for you.
Yeah, I think the setup here, something is wrong.
Okay.
Why don't you go to the image for drop down? There's new and open. Select the drop down. So there's buttons
Yeah.
here, new and open. Select the image, the icon, yeah, the mountain and sun. Type in render results.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go. That's fun. There you go. That's what it looks like now, and it's not that visible with like what I set up here, like the changes. Actually, there might not be any changes at all. But let's, for example, go back to pose mode. And actually, I don't know if we need to go to pose mode for this, but in this file, there are also presets, right? You can go to, for example, let's say sad, and then it looks like this. With the presets, this doesn't really work. Wait, let me quickly do something. No, like the wrong one.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, like this. And then if I were to render it now, I really hope it does this, because I want to show it. Rendering.
Need to cancel the previous one first. So cancel it. Oh, okay. It shows right away it's finished. Yeah, that's because the keyframe was not
Yeah,
set up.
you're right. That's something that caused me a lot of headache and took me a while and some Googling to figure out. But if you want to actually render this amazing pose, you have to like actually select everything and then press I on your keyboard. Like go down to this like thingy where it's like the timeline. I guess it's used for animation too. And you click I, and then I use all channels. I think that's correct. And then it saves this keyframe, this pose, and then you can render this actual pose. Otherwise, it will always go to like the default pose you selected. That's something that took me a while to figure out. there. Now it's working. It's actually doing the pose. Uh,
That's a
this
horrible pose. Straight out of
that
horror.
is, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
What?
Halloween kind of thing.
Wait, how did it do that though? What did you do to the body control points there?
I I think I just used one of the body ones, and the oh, I changed the tail on accident. I did. It's like almost
Oh,
flat.
you
Yeah,
moved it up.
yeah.
Okay, I was like, how did you do that? Okay.
That's, yeah. You can learn something from me. um, right. That, I think, for like a beginner tutorial, I feel like that is as good as it's going to get for from me at least. Um, Also, the heat, just by the way, is making my hair kind of wavy and curly, and I don't really know how to deal with that. So, yeah. um, I guess from my side, do you have anything else to add for like if people want to, like our community wants to make some content with our rig or our plushies, our models? Because for me, I feel like I showed the most important basic stuff.
Yeah, obviously, it's there's still a lot more, right? Like how to
Yeah,
navigate things like that. But my suggestion is just get the file, download Blender. It's free, it's easy to download, easy to install, and just break it. And just break the whole thing. You know what I mean? Just
yeah,
file, open file, and import. Doesn't work. Check out on YouTube,
yeah,
that kind of stuff. Because
yeah.
yeah, have fun. You know, that's how
That's
you
true.
start learning.
Yeah. And it might be like a funny meme if it turns out like this, right? Like this. Um,
Yeah, I mean, maybe for Halloween we can
yeah,
we could use that somehow, or a little like turning into a spider creature or something. But yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
right.
Right.
And
Um,
yeah,
yeah. Have you tried animating though,
yes,
Sophie?
I have. I have. I can show you my first animating result. It's actually on Instagram. Let me, because like Cole didn't end up having time to finish it. Can I wait? Let me go to Instagram 1 second.
Yeah, I'm mostly curious to how you would approach the animation.
Yeah, I can. I There you go. That this one, I mean, it's not perfect. Like it doesn't loop. I didn't have time to like figure that out. It was literally a couple of hours left before I had to post, and I still had to animate the paper planes. So I just kind of, I don't, if I'm being perfectionist about it, I don't like that it's kind of like all the movements happen at the same time, right? Like there's like the tail is moving and the eyes are moving and the head is moving. It all happens at the same time. I wish I could have, delayed that a bit to have it look a bit more natural, I guess.
Okay, so
Um,
that one, yeah. Okay, all right, that's a
yeah,
start. That's a start.
yeah, it doesn't move a lot, I guess. Yeah, the way I approached it though is basically kind of like how I would approach just animating these paper planes, I guess, with like the different keyframes and in Blender. Let me open Blender again. Uh,
One thing I'd like to let you know here. Sometimes it's easy to see it like um, when a character doesn't do much. You know,
yeah,
it's not universally easier than when a character is doing certain specific action, for example, right? In some cases, for me, it can be harder than making a character. Let's say, make a character just sit there and just idle, being idle. It can
yeah,
sometimes be harder than making a character do like a jump, towards something,
yeah,
things like that.
yeah,
In that situation, a jump animation is a very straightforward, right? Got character start somewhere, go somewhere. But an idle animation, like now in that case, you got to think like how would an idle person move? It's
Yeah,
easy to turn it into very, you know, uh,
yeah,
complicated without you
that's
realizing
true.
it.
Yeah, the way I animated it was basically, um, yeah, I guess I saved this keyframe, then I went to like the next keyframe and moved it a bit, right? And then I inserted the keyframe, and that's kind of how I made it move, right? That's from like my 2D animation experience, which is also relatively limited, but that's kind of how I pieced it together. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the basic for all of them.
yeah,
So yeah, the rest is observation and seeing references.
yeah,
That's how I do it. Of course, there's a lot more into it, right? Later on,
yeah,
especially more complicated stuff. But
yeah.
for the viewers, don't need to worry about that for now. Just move one thing to another. Stick with that first.
That's right. Yeah. And I mean, technically, do we want to do what's it called? Oh man, the quick fire questions. Bam Bam sent them to me, or do we skip that for today?
I mean, let's do it. I mean,
Okay.
it'll just be me answering it though, yeah?
I can answer too.
Yeah, you too. All
Yeah.
right, let's go.
I think this one's interesting. We both have pets, right? So, would you rather live one day as your pet, confused, pampered, slightly judgmental, or have your pet live one day as you and probably ruin your life?
Wow, that's hard. But you know what? Knowing my cat's personality, I'd
Hmm.
rather I be the cat.
Yeah.
Because right now, my cat spends too much time getting hurt and beat up because he just won't stop picking a fight with a neighbor's cat.
Mm.
And they just beat up each other for the past 3 years on a weekly basis. And it's hard
Yeah.
to stop them from doing that. It's really hard. And
Yeah.
at this point, it's weird because it's like it's been so long. They're more like these are like buddies, but they just fight buddies or something.
That's their love language.
And if my cat becomes me, I don't want my cat going around beating up my neighbors. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
that
think
might not be the best. Yeah, I'm thinking. I feel like if I were like, I have two dogs and two cats, obviously. Like, not obviously, I don't know why I keep saying obviously, but I have two dogs and two cats. I feel like if my Chihuahua lived as me one day, maybe she would actually like she's very resolute, kind of. She gets what she wants and she does not stop at anything to get it, kind of person. So maybe that might be beneficial for me. I don't know. It could also ruin and burn all the bridges. I don't know. um, Otherwise, I suppose I would also prefer to live as my pet for a day. Everyone else just gets a lot of cuddles, or my cats, they just run around outside and I don't know, chase mice, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
Second
yeah.
question.
I mean, yeah, that's so easy. Being a
Yeah.
being a pet, you just stay there and eat. And just do nothing. That's all
Yeah.
you need to worry about.
Yeah, you can sleep whenever you want. You get the food served to you every day. Yeah, it has its perks, I guess. Okay, next questions. Um, be able to teleport, but only to places you regret, or time travel, but only 5 minutes into the past with no context.
First option,
Yeah,
but
I
I'd like
think.
to know the framework here of places I regret. Like, what kind of what's the connection here with my regret and a certain place? Is it like some something I regret in the past. It happens in a certain place, and then I get teleported there. You mean?
I think this only is like spatial. I don't think that's time based, the teleport one. I think
Then
you would maybe you I don't know, broke up with someone in some place and you don't ever want to go there again and then you teleport there and you see it, like something like that is how I
I'll take
see
that.
that.
I'll
Yeah,
take
I
that.
think me too.
It's so easy. I have so many regrets of, let's say, right? I can imagine right now. For example, when I was a kid, probably mistakes I made. So yeah, that would means I can teleport myself to within the vicinity of my school, and my daughter is in the school right now. I mean, not the same school, different school, but same area. So it's so easy to just teleport,
Yeah,
take my daughter to school. I don't need to drive so far away to
that's
get
yep.
there.
Yeah, it's also yeah, it's a cheap way to travel, I guess, and you can turn your regret memories into good ones. I feel like that too. I would choose that as well. Time travel, I don't think that's a good idea.
In 5 minutes,
Uh,
it's useless.
yeah, that's very useless. There's two more. Let's do one more. Let's do you can fly, but only 3 feet off the ground, or you can talk to animals, but they all hate you a little bit.
Um, I mean, I like animals. That would suck, but it's just a little bit, right? This
Yeah.
one's harder. Like 3 feet off the ground. You know what? I I choose the first option
Yeah.
because I
Why?
think I can at least make money off of it somehow.
Like,
A magic
I don't
trick
know.
that no one in the world can debunk. You can't solve how I do it. Right? It's just
Hmm.
real, actual fact that I'm flying. That'd be
Yeah.
amazing. People will pay you for that, right? But like talking
Hmm.
to animals, yeah, maybe yeah, that too. But I mean, honestly, though, animals are not humans, right? It's not like in Disney where they, have conversations or something
You
like
never
that,
know.
right? I mean, it's more like knowing how they, I don't know, right? Maybe a dolphin, I guess. Maybe certain primates, I don't, but
Yeah.
like, I don't think there's much to gain from talking to animals, at least specifically for me. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah. I think I would actually go for talking to animals. I feel
Mhm.
like the 3 feet off the ground is like you'd be, or at least I, as a clumsy person, would be very prone to just flying into things, and that's, I don't know, it feels unsafe. So I think I would choose talking to animals. Like sometimes I feel like I wish I could ask my cat if, I don't know, they would prefer a different kind of food or a different, I don't know, how's your day today? I hope you're feeling good.
Well,
you
that is
know?
well, yeah. Talk to my cat. Although I don't know if I want to know what my cat knows.
Yeah, because they hate, like, in this question, they all hate you a little bit. But I feel like, at least with my Chihuahua, I'm pretty sure that she both loves and hates me a little bit. So I feel like it's not that big of a difference. I feel like
Not much
with
difference,
my
yeah.
cats as well.
She
Yeah,
just hates you a little bit more. That's
yeah,
good.
maybe. Okay, I think that is probably it for today. I think we went over an hour now. That's good.
Okay.
Let's not drag this out further. Yeah, I'm very glad that I don't have to do this every week. I'm not very good at talking spontaneously, but I'm glad that Bam Bam will be back next week, hopefully.
I think you did
But it
pretty
was
well.
nice, a nice change of pace, I guess.
Yeah, you did pretty well there. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
wouldn't worry about that. Yeah, maybe we can just bring you back again for one of these Blender tutorials. Yeah,
Yes,
beginner tutorials for
yes,
uh, the viewers.
definitely. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for everyone who was watching. Thank you for being here and sharing your time or whatever it is that Bogan says when he does the outro. And yeah, see you around on the internet, I guess. Can I even end this stream, or does Bogan have to do this? By the way.
Oh, you have a good point here. I don't know. Um, how do we do this? Do we let Bogan go? Hey, Bogan, the stream. We have to turn
Yeah.
it off.
Yeah, let me ping him, and I don't know. You can just keep talking for a little bit until I reach
Okay.
Bogan. 1 second.
I don't know what to say. Um, yeah.
What are
Yeah,
you like?
yeah.
What are you working on this week?
What I'm working on
Hmm?
right now, I am doing the what's it called? This one, this particular reel. I forgot the name. Hold on, let me check. Out of all these thousands of tabs I have, well, there it is, Monday.com. Okay. Oh, where did it go? Every time I try to eat healthy. Okay, that one.
Okay. Yeah.
The eating healthy one. That's what I'm working on. Still setting up the scene. The A lot of the environment we have is very streamlined for rendering. So it's only once for one specific angle. For this one, we need
Hey guys,
both
I'm back.
front and there you
Oh,
go.
that's
Hello.
awesome. Great.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
didn't.
Just
We
real
ran
quick
out of
because
stuff to talk about.
okay, cool. Because I'm still in the meeting, so if we're ready to wrap it up, I'm just gonna close the stream.
We are
Okay.
ready.
But yeah,
All
perfect.
right.
Thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry about that. I'm in a meeting at the moment, but yeah,
No
we'll
worries.
catch you in the next one. Have a good one, guys.
Yep.
Cheers.
See you.